I do vocals, so primarily worship, a lot of solo stuff as well. I traveled a lot early in my 20s and did some stuff with some different record labels and traveled around and sang with some really, really cool groups. But worship is my biggest, I would say, passion, calling, gifting. That is something that I just really feel God has called me to more than anything. For me, same thing. I was a little kid, you're pastor's kid, so you're just constantly around that atmosphere of worship and Jesus-centered music. And so I always wanted to do it. I was just telling a story at lunch. We were in a really small church, and my parents were the pastors. My mom was the worship pastor, and they just needed people. So my mom literally, I remember, pulled a bunch of us aside one Sunday and was like, you're going to be the drummer, you're going to be the piano player. And nobody played these things or necessarily sang, but there was a need, and so we learned. And so to this day, like 27 years later, most of those people are still the core worship team at that church. So it's really cool. But yeah, I think I had the desire there, but the real push came when I was probably about 14, is really when I stepped into that role. Discipleship is a big deal. Same thing. I've got a couple students here that are doing this. And this was stuff that like we did, Jacob and I, like this was a big deal to us when we were your guys' age. And so I would just say, yeah, being constantly involved with discipleship and pulling people up and leading them and sending them out. And then our churches draw different people. Some churches are really big in like children's ministry or youth ministry or whatever. Our church is really big in music. So what's cool is that we're able to work with our teams and be able to send them out where maybe there's voids at other churches and be able to plug people in to help other churches out in areas that they may need help temporarily. So that's one thing that I really enjoy as a leader being able to do, is to help just maximize the ability of my team and be able to be utilized in other places where people may be struggling or lacking. I would say this is extremely practical. We should all know this, but just recently was doing a similar thing to this, but with college-age students. And my biggest practical piece of advice was literally just meeting with Jesus. Like, you have to do it, because I remember I worked at a really large church in Phoenix, and I was really nervous because I came from this small church. So the capacity of this mega church that they were allowing me to lead at, I remember being really nervous. And
we're talking like 10,000 people here, right?
30,000. Yeah, it was a big church. So I didn't feel I had any place there, but I remember the pastor telling me one Sunday morning, because I was just like, I have to get up there, and he said, Tiffany, if there's ever a moment where you haven't met with God before you got on this stage, or there's ever a day where you're not nervous to go and lead people into his throne room, then you have no business being up there. Yeah. And that really has resonated with me through my whole life. So my biggest practical piece of advice is you have to meet with God, or you have no business leading other people into his presence, because you haven't been there first. No, yeah, we did a lot of traveling, and yeah, it's just funny, like
frontline, right?
Yeah, frontline worship. That's what we were called. Really cool, big name people. It just lack of good leadership. I will say that people that as a team as a whole didn't practice what we preached, and God doesn't bless that if you don't put Him first. And so that was a really cool lesson learned, and I think we all learned from it, and everyone's doing well today. But yeah. You have to invest in it. You have to invest in your gifting. Yeah. Just like any athlete, or anything like that. Like, to be good at something, like, yes, God will bless you in it, and He's given you the gift, but you have to fine-tune it, and you have to use it and work with it.